I recently spent $69 on groceries for the week, and given the times, inflation's going up, costs are rising, we're seeing layoffs left and right, I figured I could share some of this experience and hopefully it's beneficial to someone. I've been meal prepping for years now, so I hope sharing my process can give you some insight in what can be helpful when it comes to planning, grocery shopping, and making the most out of your groceries for the week. Now, budgeting, personal finance, it's exactly that. It's personal. So make sure you seek advice from your financial professionals when it comes to your own situation. I'm simply sharing my experience here. Here you can see my receipt from Trader Joe's, and you can see all the items that I purchased. So we'll take a look at how we came up to this total amount on this bill, which is $69.83. First of all, it's always really important to budget, not just when it comes to groceries, but more holistically across your life. I spent years in accounting working on audits for large corporations, so I've seen what this looks like. I've seen it in a corporate setting, but I also know a lot of those principles remain the same, and we can translate them into our own personal lives. So when you review your overall top-line budgeting, look at your line item for groceries. How much do you want to set aside for your groceries? The circumstances of your situation will impact your overall number. Are you planning for yourself? Are you planning for a family with multiple people? How frequently during the month are you doing groceries? All of those things can play a role. I started meal prepping a few years ago. Part of the reason was because I was traveling a lot. I also wanted to be more in control of the type of foods that I ate. Because I also had so many different things on my plate and I was always getting ready to catch the next flight, it was also important for me to figure out how to balance my time. I knew I wouldn't be able to manage thinking of meals every single day and prepping the meals every single day. That just wasn't feasible for me given the number of hours I was working and the time I would be thinking about dinner, much less preparing it and actually eating the meal. When I was traveling and always on the road, I didn't have as much control as to what I eat and what I had access to easily. So meal prepping was a way for me to tackle all of these things. Being in control of what I'm eating, managing time, and also saving money while doing it. My planning process when it comes to buying groceries and meal prepping usually starts with me taking a look at what I have already. Looking in the fridge, looking in the pantry, seeing which things I need to restock. If there's something in particular I want to have in that upcoming week or that I'm looking to make, I'll have to make sure that I have those ingredients. So at the very least, I'll have a list in my head. But if it's a longer list, then I'll actually write it down and keep that with me when I go to the grocery store. So while at the grocery store, I'll actually work down the list and make sure I'm getting everything that I need. Otherwise, my usual process is to just get a lot of the same things every week. So it's usually a mixture of vegetables, snacks, what I need to have for breakfast, some type of meat that I can combine with the vegetables to eat for dinner, and it's usually pretty simple. Every once in a while, I'll try something new at the grocery store, so those are new additions to the list. But otherwise, the rest of the list is usually pretty consistent. One thing about having a grocery list is that it keeps you focused and it helps you avoid some of those impulse buys. Depending on what I need, I'll look across different stores to see if there are any particular deals or specials that week. Or for certain items, if they're on sale, I may consider buying them in bulk. But that's usually mostly for toiletries and things of that sort, not necessarily perishable foods that I need every week. So a couple of things for you to consider in your own process. What are the items that you need? Making sure that you have a clear list of items. Which grocery stores are you going to? Is it a store that has different deals on a weekly basis? Is it a store that has coupons? Do you need to download the app to get the coupons and the deals? Is it a store that allows you to buy items in bulk? Or even if it's not a store that usually sells items in bulk, do you need to consider buying a few of the items so that you save money in the long run, especially while there's a deal going on? Everyone's situation is a little bit different, but these are some of the levers I've considered to save money in the long run. Now, in my case, I made a trip to Trader Joe's. Unless there are certain things that I'm looking for that I need to find elsewhere, I can usually get a bulk of what I need from Trader Joe's. So come along with me while I navigate the store, pick up some groceries, and then we'll itemize the different things that I purchased and ultimately how much it came up to. We know that I spent $69, so let's see the different items that I purchased. After that, I'll go through a little bit of my meal prepping process. So here's everything that was purchased with that amount. We'll go through and take a look at the items. So you see 2 pears here, some salmon. This is some wild salmon, a couple of organic bell peppers, some organic broccoli, organic corn, organic carrots. Then we have some organic roasted vegetable pizza. This I usually like to keep on hand in case I want to eat something quickly, but I don't want to actually go through the process of making a full meal. Then some organic naan crackers. Then you see some organic flaxseed meal and some organic flake coconut. Then we have some instant ramen, some organic cashews unsalted. Then this is just some of the case of water. This isn't everything, but it was a case of water. Then you have some green beans, some organic green beans, some bananas, a couple of packs of chopped salad, and then you see some rolls here. And here you see some organic mushrooms. So this was this week's grocery haul from Trader Joe's. So how do I make this last for the entire week? Usually what I'll do, and I've been doing this for a while now, for a number of years actually, I'll usually meal prep. So with the salmon and then all the vegetables that you see here, the bell peppers, the broccoli, the carrots, the corn, green beans, and also the mushrooms. And these tomatoes, these organic tomatoes, this was one of the things that I realized I forgot. So with all of these vegetables, I'll usually meal prep and create the vegetables in one pan. And then in the other pan, I'll have the salmon. So usually once I have that, then I split it out into meals for dinner to last me for the entire week. And then with these salad packs, I'll usually split these so that they last for Monday through Friday for a quick lunch. Sometimes I'll add some meat with it, but often I might have it just by itself. And for breakfast, I usually have a mix of the bananas with oatmeal, and then with the coconut flakes, the flaxseed meal, also some chia seeds, and maybe some raspberries or blueberries. I'll include that in my oatmeal. And that's usually what I have for most of the week, sometimes Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend as well, depending on if I'm having brunch or doing something else. So these are the items I'll usually have for breakfast. So you'll see the chia seed here, some toasted coconut granola, the flaxseed meal, which I talked about, the coconut flakes, and you can see some blueberries here. And then I'll usually have green tea or some other kind of tea. Other than that, I'm usually drinking water. And for my snacks, I usually have these naan crackers. I also have cashews, and then I didn't get them this time, but I love these gummy bears. I'm trying to work my way off of them, the gummy bears, and also these organic mango fruit bars. I'm trying to stay away from those. And then I'll usually have fruit. So sometimes it's pear, sometimes it's apple, sometimes it's something else. But that's usually the mix of things that I'll have when it comes to snacks. So you've now seen the items that I purchased. My meal prepping process has changed a little bit over time. So in a prior video, I talked about the difficult situation that I've been dealing with where I've been displaced in the past few months. Prior to that, in my home, I would usually meal prep and package everything up in containers and have that food available for dinners and lunches as I decided. Now that I'm in a temporary situation, my process has been minimized even more. So now I work with 2 different containers, and that's what I use to cook the food and also store the food for the week. It's funny how sometimes we think that we can't possibly do something, or that the current situation is what it is and it has to be that way. But I will say sometimes constraints really force you to be creative. And that's exactly what I've been dealing with the past few months, knowing that I don't have my usual accommodations and I'm just working with the bare minimum that I have at the moment. I have limited utensils, I have limited cookware, but I'm still trying to make it work to have meals prepped so I can still save time, I can eat healthy and know what's going in my food, and I can save some money while I'm doing it. So let's take a look at the meal prepping process, and then after that, some of the food storage. When I meal prep, because I only have 2 pans, I use one for vegetables and I use the second one for the meat. It's usually chicken or some type of fish. In this example, it's salmon. Once I've cooked both the vegetables and the meat, then it's getting ready for the food storage. So what I'll usually do is prep both pans so that they have the same thing. So I'll move some of the vegetables into the other pan that had the meat, and then also take some of the meat and put it into the other pan. This way I have 2 pans that's ready to go for the week. I start with one in the fridge, usually the larger one, so that can get me from Monday through Wednesday for dinners. And then the smaller pan I put in the freezer. So once I'm ready for that around Thursday, I'll take it out of the freezer and then I can use it for Thursday and Friday. So this is how I'm able to meal prep given my current situation and still have dinners ready in advance. For lunch, I'll usually have something much lighter, like the salads that you see that I purchase. And for breakfast, it's usually oatmeal with coconut flakes, chia seeds, a banana, and either raspberries, blueberries, or blackberries. So that's my process. Now, if you're coming in with a budget and you have a number, after you've done your groceries and you've spent a certain amount, you want to make sure that you're tracking against your budget. So did you overspend? Did you spend within the budget? If you overspent, do you know why that is? And is there a way that you can manage that better the next time? The benefit of budgeting is to know exactly how much you're spending. Where is that money going? How can you optimize it? Are there ways you can save? How can you make the process better overall? If the goal is to manage your money, given everything that's going on at the moment, if you're looking to save, if you're looking to cut down on your expenses, then this can be one of the things that you monitor, especially since we know that grocery prices are going up. So track your spending and make necessary changes as you need to over time. Hopefully you can see that cutting back on your grocery expenses doesn't mean that you need to sacrifice your health or even flavor to stay on budget. The overall goal here is to put these habits into practice and not just apply it to groceries and meals and food, but into other aspects of your line as well. If you can develop these principles and the discipline around them, then you can apply it to any line item on your budget in other aspects of your life. That way you can save overall, not just on food. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you find it helpful for your own process if you're already budgeting, if you're already making changes, or if you're just getting started, maybe there are some tips in here that you can implement. Again, always consult your financial experts for any decisions that you're making around money and your own personal situation. But by taking these small steps and doing what we can all navigate these times by being conscious about our spending, broadening our knowledge around personal finance, and exercising financial responsibility. If this is your first time here, watch another video, give this one a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.